game is an amateur game. I mean, the professional side of it, there are idols and heroes and fun to watch them play. But I mean, if it wasn't for amateur golf, there would be no golf.
You have to remember, when you play a golf course and you're out there for 4 hours or whatever, you're only hitting a ball for 15 minutes of that. So there's a lot of time to look around.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Top 100 Clubhouse podcast. I'm your host, James Henderson. I'm joined by my editor, Jasper Miners. Hello, Jasper.
Hello.
And we've got a very special guest, and we're very fortunate to call him a part of the team in a way, in Luke Hodgetts. How are you doing, Luke?
Very good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, superb. I'm looking forward to diving deep into what you're going to be doing with us. And I know you've got a storied career already, so it's exciting to say that we're working together.
Very happy to be part of the team.
So let's just run through a wee bit about how golf found you. Where did it all start? What was your...
Well, I've been working in the golf industry for over a decade now. I know I don't look old enough to be able to say that, but it's true. So my very first job, I used to work at a driving range down in Winchester. I then moved to Adidas from there. I worked for them for 4 years, working in customer service. While I was there, COVID hit, and I then picked up a camera for the first time and figured out how to shoot photos to start off with, because I really wanted to get into the marketing team. I then ended up moving to Callaway from there. That's where a lot of the video production came from. And I did a lot of their social media content and digital marketing while I was there for the European channels. I then was there for a year and a half, and from there I went freelance with videography, photography. At the start of that, it was very much around 50-50 photo and video, whereas now it's much more elevated into the video standpoint. So it's a lot more now. I'd probably say about 90-10.
What do you think's driven that?
Probably more of a passion for video and the storytelling behind the things that I'm shooting. So I find it a lot easier to tell a story in a video. For example, like the video that we've shot here at Porthcawl, it's a lot more of a story-driven video piece. And that's the sort of content that excites me. And also telling a brand story within a brand video. So like I've shot for brands like TaylorMade. I've done a few bits of content for them. I've done a few bits for Puma Cobra while being freelance as well. And being able to tell the stories for brands like that is really special as well for me.
You obviously have worked for a lot of big brands. Tell us who, in terms of the golf world, have you worked with and that we would know?
So I've shot with Gareth Bale. So that was on a TaylorMade shoot. So we filmed a fitting at Wentworth with him. So he's probably one of the biggest names that I've shot with. I've met a few people in the golf world. Like I've had a half an hour chat with John Rahm just randomly while I was at the Callaway office. He was down after, I can't remember what event it was, but he came down to meet everyone at the office, and his dad was having a fitting in the performance center, so he just popped in. I was just there, so we just had a little sit down chat in the performance center, and it's sat next, like I am with you, Jasper. Sat this far away from John Rory, we just had a chat for half an hour about golf, and just like a normal bloke.
Shooting the shit, as they say, right?
But yeah, it's I'm very fortunate to have met the people I have and have a really good network within the golf world. I don't really, when I think about it, I don't think of it as an oh wow moment. I know X, Y, and Z. It's they're just normal people to me, and I don't get starstruck anymore by anybody, which is weird.
Not even James when you first met James this weekend.
I mean, he's probably one of the most famous, people I've ever met. So it's,
I mean, yeah. Him and Gareth Bale, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
all my 150 followers. Very impressed. My tens of followers. So just for people to understand, you're also a very accomplished golfer in your own right.
I try to be, yeah.
You compete in a lot of the amateur events around the UK, and you play off a very good handicap of plus $1 million.
+2. +2 at the moment.
I'm not going to lie to you. To Jasper and I, anything over plus is $1 million.
Yeah, it's a world I've never visited. Really. So.
I got to +3 temporarily, and then that was while I had my best season was in 2022. I won 3 decent events that year.
What did you win?
So I won the Selborne Salvo, which is an England event. That is basically it's a co-sanctioned event with the Hampshire Hog, which in whole is the Hampshire Salvo. That year, I think I came. Don't quote me on this, but I think I came around tied 3rd or something like that in that event after winning the Selborne as a captain's invite. So I didn't actually enter it originally. That's cool. Yeah, I got an invite. But the reason I didn't enter it because I didn't think I'd get in originally. And then the captain texted me and was like, "Have you entered?" And I was like, "No, I didn't think I'd get in." He was like, "Okay, you can have my pick then." So he picked me to play. I then turned up. I was first on the tee at Blackmore for the Selborne, and I started bogey, and I'm thinking wonderful.
Thanks.
I went into the day knowing that the golf course is going to be set up incredibly hard because back in the day, Andy Sullivan won and he shot 9 under par around there, I believe. So they've started setting the golf course up really hard. So I knew going into it was going to be a tough setup. So I went into it with the strategy of fairways, greens, 2-putt, get out of it. Just make lots of pars, which is my way of playing golf anyway. I don't make lots of birdies. I just make lots of pars and play very boring golf.
I wish I could do that.
Sounds brilliant.
We're more lots of bogeys and
occasional pars. Don't make a lot of pars. Just bogey golf.
But I went into it with that mindset, and it ended up paying off. Nerves settled, and then I ended up being. I think I was 3 under with 2 to play over 36 holes. I then finished bogey as well. So I was like, I've ruined it. I'm done. Like I'm not gonna win. I go in, and the referee's like, how'd you get on? I gave my score. They're like, okay, you'll probably have to hang around for the presentation because they do top 5. Obviously, I was first out, so I had a long wait. I was saying to my caddy at the time, I was like, right, let's pack the car up. I've got dinner when I get home. We got dinner booked at a restaurant down the road. While we're waiting for everyone to come in, there was no scores under par. I was the only one under par at the time. I'd waited an hour, still no one under par. 2 hours goes by, still no one under par. And we get to the last group coming in, and the guy says to me, just to let you know, this guy's got a 6-foot putt to tie you. So he was like, you probably should go and get your clubs back out of the car because we might have a playoff. I was like, the clubs have been in the car for 3 hours. Yeah. I've got to go and warm up again. So I said to him, I was like, right, I'm going to go get my clubs. I'm going to go and hit a few balls in the net just to warm the back up. I go down, get my clubs out, and I walk up, and he was like, you can put them back in the car. He missed the putt. I was like, perfect.
So I was about to ask, was there a cough involved? Was there
no, it was very
back group.
It was a very fair one, but it was a surprise win, but it was also, that was the very first tournament where I changed my mindset of believing I could win. Because when I used to play beforehand, so prior to 2022, I went into events looking up at the guys playing in the county squad thinking, oh my God, you guys are incredible golfers. You guys are people I look up to. Whereas then I changed my mindset for that particular season because I'd read listened to a lot of audiobooks from like Bob Rotella and people like him about the mindset of golf. And I used that a lot over like a couple of years of trying to learn it. And that season was the first season I genuinely believed I could go into these tournaments and win and compete. And that was my first event going in with that mindset, and it obviously worked and paid off. And then that season ended up being my best season I'd ever had.
So you see, James, we just have to change our mindset from bogey to par. We'll get there.
I'm not going to lie to you. I think it's ingrained.
Just put Bob Rotella on while you sleep. Maybe that's a good one.
Try that. I found while I was driving to events and stuff, How Champions Think is probably it's a 7-hour long audiobook. So when I'm on a long drive, it's perfect. Like, because you get bored of listening to you get bored of listening to the same music over and over again. So put an audiobook on, it's fantastic. It's great.
Yeah, or the podcast.
Or podcast, yeah.
Or podcast.
Yeah, Top 100 Clubhouse, I hear it's very good. So you've obviously got a passion for golf.
Yeah.
And you've been working in golf and running around golf the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And you've gone out on your own and you do your own video stuff. You've been to Australia filming at the at Royal Melbourne for the Australian Open. How was that?
Phenomenal. Yeah, Royal Melbourne was a very special place. So I've worked the Australian Open, Australian PGA the last 2 years. Very fortunate to be invited to go out there and shoot those. They are tournaments that are always in my diary. And I always make sure that's in my diary before they even confirm that I'm going.
Well, it's probably the best golf course when they play at the likes of Kingston Heath and Royal Melbourne. It's the best golf course that probably all pros play on. And
it's back at Kingston Heath next year as well. So 2024, it was at Kingston Heath when I first shot it. And yeah, it's back there next year, which I'm really excited about.
We'll see how Rory feels about Kingston Heath next year.
Imagine he comes out next year and be like, "Oh yeah, Royal Melbourne's my favorite golf course."
I was actually in the presser when he was talking about it, and you could hear a pin drop when he was saying that Royal Melbourne's not the best golf course in Australia.
I do wonder if that's because he's on the membership list at Melbourne, because something similar happened. We asked him at the Irish Open what his favorite Heathland golf course was, and he said Sunningdale.
He's on the membership list at Kingston Heath or Melbourne.
Perhaps he probably is now after that comment at Kingston Heath. I don't know.
Oh, wow. They do. The thing about both these golf courses have got a history of good golf. So there's a lot of the local best golfers get picked up. It's a bit like in Sunningdale's, the reference to Sunningdale, they always try and bring in the best golfers and they want to have a very high standard of golf played at the golf club.
Yeah. I mean, also, after your one of your first questions to me was, who have you shot with? And I've also shot a video with Rory, which I forgot about. I don't know how. I forgot
just
that, but I did.
Yeah, Rory McIlroy there.
Yeah, that was fun. I shot like a little a video of him at Royal Melbourne, which was quite special.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, you're just sitting there being like, I wish this was Kingston Heath. No.
Kingston Heath was a great. Kingston Heath was also a very cool venue to shoot at.
It's very small, so you can run around quite quickly. Like, it's a small footprint.
Yeah. So when last year when we shot there, so my brief on the Sunday was to get a winner's video, and I can't remember the guy's name who won last year, but he'd come out of nowhere, and I had got so much footage of the people who were leading, and then all of a sudden this guy is on the 17th hole and he's now joint for the leader, and I have no footage of him, and I need to put a whole 30-second reel of his winner's video together, and I'm sprinting from the other side of the golf course to try and catch up with him on the 17th. So I end up getting his whole winner's video only on the 18th hole, and I managed to do it, but it was so difficult to be able to do that. Whereas last year, I'd done it completely differently, as in I wanted to do more of a storytelling video for the PGA and the Open. So I did more of a cinematic style winners video, which required a hell of a lot more footage, and also required me to pray to the golfing gods that it was a runaway winner. I was very fortunate in the first event that I also had two other guys who were there shooting, so I was able to use some of their footage as filler footage, whereas at the Open it was purely just me. I was very lucky that there was another guy called Ricky who was there from New Zealand who had got some drone footage, which I was able to use at the very beginning, which was phenomenal.
Ricky Robinson.
That's the guy.
Yeah, Ricky. Yeah, he's, I would say a friend of Top 100. He's very generous with his body of work. So shout out to Ricky Robinson.
I'll be working with Ricky again out in New Zealand this month.
Of course, you're going out to New Zealand.
Got New Zealand Open. Yeah, so flying out.
And who are the headliners there this year?
That's a really good question.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention those yet, but there's some good names.
That was very well done. You've come into Top 100 to help us develop essentially our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
We've given you a lot of free rein to do what you think is best to suit us.
Mm-hmm.
What's your plans? What do you want to do with the site?
So I think the biggest part that I think you guys have is you've got such a trusted, you've got a really trusted opinion and viewership of these top golf courses and what people want to see about these golf courses and stuff like that. So I think, like the video we've shot here at Porthcawl, it's shooting a hybrid documentary / vloggy style video, which shows off the best of all the golf courses that we're able to go to. So it's showing off the history, it's showing off the golf courses and showing off the architecture of the golf courses to the best they possibly can. But it's being able to do that and film it and get that story across in a way that just it's elevated within the content, you know?
Yeah, very much so. Capture what is actually very hard to capture in these places, which is the essence of the place.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I think that's one of the things too that we wanted to, as a company, Top 100 was we've got an amazing audience, 800,000 unique visitors to the website, 250,000 followers across social media. It's phenomenal. Even listenership for the podcast is quite substantial for major golf markets in the UK and in America. And I think it's almost us also appreciating the role that we play within the industry and leveraging that. But we knew that we could do a better job with our partners. But it's difficult sometimes because as you look at it as a business, it's interesting that what we do is rankings. But the one thing we don't sell is rankings. So how do you make a business that serves the community and does that well, but we can't actually monetize the one thing that we do and are known for?
Mm-hmm.
And so what we've tried to do over the last 2 years is create a system whereby we can leverage the strengths that we have, i.e. a massive following, the attention of hundreds of thousands of traveling golfers that are actively planning golf trips, and using that attention as a way to marry up with the needs of golf clubs or resorts or destinations. So although we're ardently protecting the rankings and the integrity of them, what we can offer to commercial partners is the attention of traveling golfers who are planning trips. And hopefully this gives them, potential partners and current partners, the ability to almost look at a menu of video options that will be coming out over the next probably 3 to 6 months as we work through these first few videos, that gives our clients and potential clients almost a menu that they can choose from and say, which one of these amazing videos would you like for your club?
Absolutely.
That addresses those needs. So I think we're really excited internally to have this as another option that we can help our partners with.
You've also got another benefit of these style of videos. It's also because a lot of people look at the rankings and they don't see why certain places are ranked in certain spots. Whereas these sort of videos are a perfect way of you being able to get that reasoning across. So for example, again, coming back to the video we've done here, it will show you exactly why Porthcawl is ranked where it is in the world and why it's there. So,
and I think that's a difficult story to tell sometimes without being necessarily too geeky, because you can sit down with diagrams and charts and you can say, okay, because of this hole and this hole or this green complex, but instantly you lose like 95% of the audience. But I think with a compelling video with a really engaging narrative and story, they can enjoy the journey, but then also have a takeaway point that maybe encourages them to book their next trip here.
Absolutely.
This episode is brought to you by the Lockhart Travel Club. We believe golf is more than a game. It's a journey. A journey we've made across 34 of the world's top 100 courses last year, and now is your turn. We curate bespoke travel experiences for passionate golfers who expect nothing but the best. Membership is limited, so join us at lockharttravelclub.com.
One of my favorite things about playing golf with you, Jasper, is whenever we go out there, no matter who we're playing with, whatever, how good that person, how knowledgeable they are about architecture, you still go out there and Jasper will point out these little pieces of information, these little bits of knowledge that really everyone listens to. No matter who they are, you listen and you hear these little nuggets of joy that describe the golf course in a way that most people didn't even look at it in that way. And it's even like yourself, Luke, filming yesterday on the golf course, things that Jasper's saying, it just was really engaging, but it's a way of capturing that and being able to put that across to people so that they can develop their golf course architecture knowledge in a fun way, in an interesting, informative way.
Well, and I think it's very generous for you to say that, James, because I mean, whenever we play together, you come out with things and you see that, and your playing background predominantly on world-class links definitely helps too. I mean, you've seen the very best of the best and grew up on it. So it's one of those things that everybody brings something to the table and sees things differently. No one has monopoly on these things, and it's an art. So when you look at golf course architecture, not as a science, but as an art form, it speaks to everybody individually, and what makes it good can be different from person to person. But yeah, it's making it accessible, not talking over people, but almost sharing what you think and what you've seen. But I mean, sometimes you go out and you see things, or things are pointed out to you, or you see golfers play a hole a certain way, and the penny drops. And that's, it might be something world class like here at Porthcawl, or it might be like your local muni, and there's one little bit of that golf course that's really, really good or really, really right, and you can take that away. So no matter how you've played or how the match has gone, I think you're still deriving benefit from golf as a whole and that experience, because it's another level or another way that you can enjoy golf or the golf course, rather than just worried about what the score is on your card.
Exactly.
Is that kind of thing you want to get across on the video? Absolutely.
I think it's a super important thing to get across, for sure.
When you were out there yesterday, is that what you expected to, or was there things that you were like, oh, actually, this is really interesting, or this is something I already knew?
What I liked about it was being out, because obviously I only really look at golf courses from a player's perspective.
A good golfer.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but I'll let you say it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
But it's really interesting for me to hear you guys talk about it from an architectural point of view rather than a player's point of view. Because I look at it being like, for example, the short par 3 here, I think it's 7. I'm looking at that. I'm like, it's such a cool design of a hole, because I could land it there and still roll it into the flag. Whereas you guys are looking at it from an architectural point of view, which it's really cool to see. Even though I'm excited about the hole from one angle, whereas you guys are really excited about the hole for a completely different reason, which I find really cool.
And I think that's an interesting thing to say too, is because actually there is like this convergence of these two worlds, and they do combine, and where they overlap, that's where the real magic happens. So for example, like you said, from a playing perspective, you look at that hole and you think, okay, I can miss it there, because even if I miss it there, there's a chance that it'll take that slope and feed back. Where I think from an architectural point of view, you look at that and say, isn't that really cool that you can actually play away from the flag, and you don't have to be like destination driven. You can actually play away from where you want to go and use things like slopes or feeder slopes or banks or ridges or whatever it might be to allow the golfer options to play that shot. And it might not be from a better player's point of view, as he's thinking about as a miss. It might be that maybe a woman golfer or a youth golfer maybe doesn't have the ability to fly it 180 to the back of the green and stop it on a dime. Maybe it is that they hit it 140, hit a feeder slope, and then run it back.
Yeah.
Or maybe that applies to someone that hits a shot shape left to right. Well, they have a backstop now on the right side of the green. So it's an interesting thing, exactly to your point, is that there is a point at which all those things start to overlap. And I think if you can combine those worlds, better players, I mean, Rory spoke about that in the last couple of years, just having an awareness of golf course architecture. And I do wonder if maybe understanding who your opponent is when you're playing the game of chess on a golf course is that you're actually playing not just the other people in the tournament, but you're also playing against the guy that designed the golf course.
Yeah.
And even understanding that side of it, I think helps better players play golf and enjoy golf more.
Absolutely. You've also got obviously we've talked about the 7th green, but we also spoke yesterday about the bunkering in terms of like having bunkers that are surrounded by rough rather than just fairways going into it. So I'm looking at that as I prefer it when the grass is cut tight around the bunkers, because I don't want it to be unfair for me if I'm going into like a big tuft of grass right next to a bunker. That's then in my eyes, even though I shouldn't be in that bunker anyway, I feel like I'm being punished even more by being in a tuft of grass. And I'd rather be in the bunker. But you guys were saying that something along the lines of it's just it's not natural for that to be set up like that. Is that right? Is that what you were saying?
Well, if you look at any of these naturalized bunkers that you see on farms or whatever, where the sheep have hidden, you tend to find actually that's the most worn bit of grass on the golf course, on the land, because it's where they've walked in and out constantly to be able to build that site. So it should be tighter. It should be, but it's also, Jasper, you know more about this kind of thing than I do, but
no, I think there's this transition from pot bunkers. So it's interesting. There's a lot of different reasons for it, but if we're honest, this transition away from vetted bunkers to naturalized bunkers has a lot to do with cost, especially up north. The sod that they used to get, it was quite thick and peat based. That's now got more and more difficult to acquire or just prohibitively expensive. So because they couldn't revet bunkers new every year without spending ridiculous amounts of money, they've had to look alternatives, and naturalized bunkers have started to come back on vogue. But I think that's the point with everything, is that oftentimes bunkers should be hazards, and you're going to get some difficult lies in a true hazard. I mean, I would even go as far as saying, like, why do we have rakes? Now, to a better player that's trying to card a score, ending up in a footprint or a divot in the fairway, that's like the most unfair thing. To the point where people are yelling and screaming about we should have a lift clean in place if you end up in a divot in a fairway. And there's a certain point at where, how much fairness do we want to introduce or legislate into the game? Or do we still want the integrity of the game of playing it as it lies, whether that is in a tuft of grass, whether that's up against the border of a bunker, or whether that's a divot in the fairway, that, look, that's just life and that's just golf, and get on with it. And maybe because I don't concern myself too much or at all with scorecard golf, those things just aren't important to me. But to your point, I think when it comes to bunkers, like they are hazards, and they need to be treated as such. And sometimes you get a terrible lie that's not in the bottom of a bunker that's collected everything to a perfect lie in the bottom. And I think that's great. I think more of that in golf is good.
But also bunkers are meant to be collection zones, right? So you shouldn't, if you have a rough line all the way around a bunker and the bunker's in rough, then it's irrelevant.
Well, what's the point of it?
Completely agree.
Yeah. It's irrelevant.
Well, I think that's the thing too, when it comes to mowing lines, oftentimes what you want is, like you look at an example like Muirfield's probably the best example, is that they have small bunkers, but actually the bunker is probably like 10 times bigger than it is, because all the contours of the ground around it funnel to it, and actually your ball can just trickle into the bunker. So that's quite strategic, because if you know your way and how to plot your way around, you might think that you're going to a safe side of the fairway, but actually you're going to be in the bunker once you walk up there, although you were very much like what you thought was safe from it.
On that point, do you think that a lot of the golf courses now are built for one-off plays, have a standing comparatively to places like round here, where there is a lot of zones that you just can't go into, or you can get a 6, but you wouldn't know that off your first play? Would that frustrate you as a low competitive golfer?
I'd like to say no, because I like to think I should have a practice round before I play a tournament anywhere. So I like to think I'd know the golf course a bit more. I won't go into a tournament unless I've got a course guide as well. I'll always have a course guide in my back pocket to make sure I know where all the hazards are. Even more so if I haven't played the golf course before.
Well, I know the last time you played here, you didn't have a practice round because you arrived in a helicopter in the car park.
That's very true. Didn't have a practice round, and I'm pretty sure I didn't actually have a course card for that one either. So, but yeah, that was certainly an interesting day.
You don't get any of those things straight from a helicopter, though, do you?
No, you don't. For some reason, you don't come off the helicopter and they don't give you a course guide straight away as soon as you step off the chopper. But maybe we should put that in the
suggestion book. The suggestion book is just around the corner. So yeah.
If anyone arrives by helicopter, make sure you give them a course guide.
I always thought we're at Porthcawl if anyone's just tuning in, but the reason I think that suggestion book's brilliant is we should write in it, don't change.
Yeah, it was interesting. You go through there, and frequently from about I think it starts at 1922 is the suggestion book that they've got currently out, and about 90% of the suggestions are to do with the price of gin, slow gin, and beer at the bar. So basically that it shouldn't cost any more to drink at the golf club than it does at any pub in town, which is, there's quite a few signatures under those.
Brilliant.
Luke, let's talk a wee bit about your personal favourite golf courses. So which golf courses really ring true with you? What's your favourites?
So in the UK, pre-changes, Birkdale was my favourite.
Interesting. A lot of good golfers say that pre-changes Birkdale is.
Yeah. I really enjoyed playing there. I played the Northwest Links there for the last, I want to say 4 years now. And it's just, so the Northwest Links is 36 at Birkdale, 36 at Hillside. It's a phenomenal tournament. It's incredible value for money, and it's playing two phenomenal golf courses. And Birkdale it was cemented as my number one in the UK, and then they made the changes, which personally most of them I think are good, but as we've spoke about yesterday, that new par 3 is not. That's hit me hard, that one.
This is what I find entertaining. It's one I love. I actually think that's the best bit about the changes. I'm not a huge...
So you prefer the new par 3 to the one that they've taken out?
So the only reason I thought they needed to change a par 3 there was because every par 3 played the same length on a normal prevailing wind or on a flat day. For some reason, I always had an 8-iron in my hand.
Yeah.
And I played it quite a few times, and I just always seemed to play a similar club no matter what. And so they had to bring in something that was lengthier or something.
It was crazy short. And it's a championship test. It's an open course. Had to go long. And I understand why you don't like it, because it's got that triple tier from a scoring perspective, from a playing perspective, it's we played off the tees that were 230 yards. It was playing downwind to a green that slopes away from you when it's rock hard. It's when you couldn't run it up because of I'm pretty sure there's a bunker short. So you can't run it up. You've got to land it on the front edge, which means you're 90% of the time you're going to be over the back, even with a good ball striking.
Well, that's where I would say, because I never look at par for a hole. I'm not thinking about par, whereas it's important to you as a good golfer. Yeah. So I always think, that's a 3.5 or whatever. And there'll be somewhere else like the hole after it in 16 that would be 3.5 as well. Yeah. It's a shorter par 4.
The par 5 prior to that, phenomenal par 5. I love the changes they've done there. I think it's a phenomenal golf hole, in my opinion. Just to the eye, it looks great. Off the tee, it's challenging. Everything about that hole to me screams this is a great golf hole. So you've got polar opposites back to back.
And just out of interest, when you think about the open rota, have you played Sandwich, Royal St. George's?
I have.
Okay, so between the two, how do you feel personally about Royal St. George's then?
So I've only played St. George's 3 times. That was practice round and then 2 tournament rounds. Scrap that. No, twice. Practice round and 1 tournament round, because it was 18 on each deal in St. George's. And I loved St. George's.
See, and that's quite interesting for me because a lot of the tour players love Birkdale, but aren't fans of St. George's. So it's, well, we'll make an architecture man out of you yet, Luke. So that's
I'm
good.
intrigued. I think I'd love to go and play in St. George's again because I've only seen it in a tournament setting.
It's difficult to judge things when you're looking at your card and you're thinking about, you're not looking outside your golf.
Whereas I've played Birkdale, I think 3 times, not in a tournament. So I've seen it in multiple lights and multiple scenarios. So I have been able to look at it from a different perspective. Whereas St. George's, I've only ever been able to see it from a tournament angle and a playing angle.
Yeah.
What other golf courses would you say are favourites of yours? Not necessarily best, the ones that...
Yeah. So my favourite golf course in the world that I've ever played is Classic Club in Palm Desert.
Never been.
No, don't know it.
No. Phenomenal golf course. It hosted the Bob Hope Classic back in the day. It's literally in the deserts, everywhere. It's surrounded by mountains. I played it with my dad. We got rental clubs. I was very fortunate that the rental irons were the exact same as the ones in my bag at the time. So I was very happy. They'd only given me a regular driver. So I was like, I can't use that. But luckily they'd given me a stiff, strong 3-wood. So it was like 13-degree 3-wood. So I just used that all
like
round.
a mini driver.
It's perfect. And I think I was 4 under through 5. No, this is probably why I like the golf.
Yeah.
But I played me and Dad played a match. We played off the tips. So the course was playing. I don't know what.
So your dad's quite a handy golfer too, then.
He's at the time he was off about 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's a little bit higher now. But yeah, so we played a match against together. Obviously, gave him some shots. But yeah, the golf course was absolutely immaculate. The tee boxes looked like carpets. I know obviously the rankings and stuff don't pull condition into account, but the layout of the golf course in my eye just looked phenomenal, and the views and everything were just superb.
It's very interesting, isn't it? Because as we have these chats, like we respect obviously your views and your opinions, and that's your favorite golf course. Brilliant. And for those reasons, we can't say anything against that like that. But it's so interesting to hear, because I can just hear like all of the comment sections on all the social media whenever we put out rankings about like, how is this golf course higher than that? This one's got way better conditioning, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it is a very real thing for like really good golfers. You like to know what you're up against. You don't want to deal with unfairness.
Correct.
And you want to be treated like you want to be rewarded for
good shots,
executing good shots.
Absolutely.
And golf courses that do that are
ones we enjoy.
Exactly. So where again, maybe that's the key. Maybe for a lot of times, like for us, where it's, you almost hit a decent shot here and it hits the side of a mound and it rolls into like the lip of a ragged edge bunker, and you're like, right, I don't have a shot. And there's something that kind of tickles me and thinks, I kind of like that, even though I'm on the receiving end of it. Whereas a better player, if you wanted to get around, it's like, that just ruined my chances.
So I see that though. But if it is, because I know we said earlier about bunkers that are actually double the size of what they actually are. But going into that, as a player, I should know that before I hit that shot. So I'm not aiming for that specific part, because I should know that if I aim there, that's going to roll into the bunker still. So I think that's I love those designs when they're like that.
Yeah.
I think that's great, because from a player's perspective, I'm like, I should know.
You should know that
I should know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
If I go in that specific spot, so I shouldn't be aiming in that specific spot.
Yeah, it goes every time, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas in a rough lined bunker, it's up to the gods.
That's it.
Exactly.
Laps of the gods.
Exactly.
The gods aren't kind on us, Jasper.
They've got something really against, especially yesterday at Porthcawl. I don't know what was going on, but I lost. Honestly, I think I came down to the last ball in my bag. I didn't go out with mini, but I definitely lost more than I should have. Way more than I should have. So yeah, not one to remember. But I still love the golf course, which I think for me, that's like, if you can go, not play badly, not be rewarded, but still walk off saying that was absolutely unbelievable. I still feel good about my time down here and still remember fondly my first visit to Porthcawl. And maybe I've just got to that point in my golf game where that is the last way that I can enjoy golf. Is not to worry about my score. Just play fast.
Get round quick.
Brilliant.
Enjoy the beer after.
Absolutely.
So, Luke, tell us a bit about what you're thinking in the long term with this top 100 stuff. What's your aim and goals? Where do you want to go with it?
I like what we said earlier about having a library of content which people can use as a travel guide. So going through the courses that you'd recommend that people, if they were coming to South Wales for a weekend, they'd be able to see the golf courses that you guys have been to and why they should go to those specific places, or if they want to go to, I don't know, Northeast England, golf courses around there, that they can have a look at the library and see which golf courses that you guys have created videos like the one we've done here there, so they can learn more about the golf course before they get there. I think bits like that is really gonna, because I look at, before obviously we spoke originally, I'd always looked at your guys' website to see what opens I can go and play, whereas rather than looking through the website, I could look through the library and I could then see which golf course has got the history and which one's got the sort of can't remember the word I'm trying to think of, but I can see what sort of golf course I'd want to go and play, but by watching those videos.
And maybe that is just the evolution of how we're presenting media now, where I think before people go on the website, they would see the ranking, and even if you didn't know about Porthcawl, Southern Down, Penard, you would look at the ranking and say, well, they're 1, 2, and 3, let's say, in South Wales. So that's just the order. But I think the palette of individuals making decisions now has advanced, where like looking at a ranking and just looking at the number beside the name of the club or reading about it on a website is that people expect good photography, videos, some sort of information. And that might just be the changing palette of consumers, is that we've come so far that in the last 20 years, written text is still important, but the next evolution of that was probably good photography. And now the next evolution of that is really good storytelling videos.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I was fortunate to have you along for the ride.
Well, thank you very much, Luke. If anyone needs to get in touch, it's Luke Hodgetts production.
Luke H Productions.
Luke H Productions. And or just get in touch with us on DM us and we'll ping him through to you, because Luke's not full-time with us, but we'd like him to be, but he's bloody expensive. No, I'm
too busy flying around the world.
But I think that's a really good point to make, is if in the next few months you see something that you really like or that you think your club would benefit from, say, wow, what you did at Porthcawl was brilliant, we'd like you to tell that story for us, then yeah, just get in touch and we can make that happen.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. And,
pleasure.
Yeah, on to the next one. Play fast, lunch slow.
Thanks, James.
Top100golfcourses.com has set the standard for golfers worldwide, and now you can wear that standard proudly. Premium apparel and exclusive gear for those who truly know the game. Shop now at top100golfcourses.com.